Howdy, how's it going? My name's Davvy Chappy, and today it's time for me to answer all your burning questions. Now, for a whole week, y'all have just been asking me a whole bunch of questions. I think I got like 73, 70, somewhere around the 70s. So I'm just gonna go through and answer literally every single one of them. Also, you might be wondering why I look a little bit different. My last outfit I left at a friend's house, so I'm wearing this hood right now. Loli Magica says, do you use any unique mechanics for games, such as non-combat, downtime encounters, drinking contests? That's a good question. Yes, but I don't really do it super often. Yes, but I don't really do it super often. Like, I did a drinking contest while all of my players were stuck in, like, a dungeon, but that was just because they brought it on themselves, saying, hey, you want to do a drinking contest? And I'm like, sure, let's do a drinking contest. Joey Kinslow asks, why? Because some people just want to watch the world burn. MrHamman88 Gamez says, why did you make this channel? Okay, so the reason I made this channel is actually pretty funny. I've been DMing for around 5 years, which I'm pretty sure is another one of the questions. So people have asked me a whole bunch of questions that I've had to repeat over and over and over again. So one day I just got sick of it and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna make a video talking about it so that I can send them to that so that they will just leave me alone. That actually became the class guide video, and then I'm like, hey, that was really easy. I wonder if I can just keep doing this forever. And then I did. PaperiLiidokki asks, what drew you to the fantastical world of D&D and then made you make your passion into a YouTube channel? Well, again, same question as last time, but what actually drew me to D&D in the first place is I've always loved fantasy, and I really like the idea of a game where you can do literally whatever you want. So D&D sort of just gravitated to me. I didn't choose the D&D life, the D&D life chose me. BeastBoy Fury asked, would you ever buy a duck that looked like a dog but sounded like a cow? So you're asking me if I would ever buy a dog that sounds like a cow, and the answer would be yes, because dogs are great. Kornknot asks, how would you make a bard that uses a piano? You know Elton John? Yeah, think him, but with like a strap on. Biando asks, favorite character that you ever played and why? My favorite character that I ever played was a half-elf drow named Icarus. He only had one arm, and he was a sorcerer, and he was like a magic, wild magic type character, and he was just completely ridiculous. So all the time, he would just go around fucking around people's thing. One of my friends who was playing a barbarian was trying to lift a rock, so he magically illusioned it to make the rock disappear, and just havoc ensued with the character. I like playing stupid characters. Pyxas asks, what race class feature do you wish was in the game that currently isn't? I wish that the Artificer was in the game. I know that they made an Unearthed Arcana for it for the Wizard, and then they released an actual class for the Artificer, but I want an official version, or a real-life version that I can hold in my hands and caress softly and just be like, don't worry, baby boy, I love you. Aodhan. That guy says, what do you think about the Shadar Kai? Will you ever do a series about the races? I think the Shadar Kai are edgy boys, and yes, I will actually be doing videos on the races, probably starting with Elf. I'm not going to do humans, because if you don't know what a human is, then I'm sorry for you. But elves I might do a whole video talking about, just because there's so many of them. Wizards, please, stop with the elves. Negative Ninja asks, will you do a Davvy's Guide to Bloodhunter or any other homebrew material in the future? So never say never, but I'm not super into homebrew material, and it would probably be a last resort. If I end up doing homebrew material, it'll probably be the point where you're like, oh god, Davvy, he's selling out now! Ryan Mockford asks, what's your favorite magic/cursed item that's appeared in a campaign you've either played in or DM'd? My favorite cursed item is a sword where you pick it up and it does like 10d10 damage to you. I did it in a group of level 1s. I was so happy. Ethan Ross asks, do you play D&D often, and if so, what mediums do you use to play, i.e. Roll20, IRL, Tabletop Simulator, or Fantasy Grounds? Yeah, I play D&D pretty much either 2 or 3 times a week, every week, and I use Roll20 predominantly because most of my friends are online. I actually highly recommend Roll20, and I might actually do a video talking about how to make Roll20 work for you, because let's be perfectly honest, their own tutorials are a little bit bad. Snivy the Boss asks, what's your favorite food? Hot dogs. Alex Thompson asks, what's your most memorable moment as a bard, good or bad? I once got 2 gangs to fight over me because I charmed one to hate the other. TineyTurtle asks, would you consider making a video covering methods of online play? Yes. FireLord Obama asks, my question is, if given the opportunity to add a subclass to any pre-existing class, what would it be, what role would it fill, and how would it work? I want the Sorcerer to have sort of a magical armor type thing. I know that's sort of what the Artificer's idea is, but if they don't do the Artificer, then they should give it to the Sorcerer, because right now the Sorcerer's whole deal is, oh, magic comes from within. So you know what also comes from within? Fucking armor. And so it would be a tank for the Sorcerer, because the Sorcerer already has saving throws for con, so it just fits. Dial Bull asks, what are some house rules/homebrew content that you would recommend? Normally I don't do homebrew content, but all of my house rules just are optional rules that you can easily find in the DM guide, so yeah. Random Dude 267 asks, what games do you play besides D&D? RPG, video games, board games, etc. Okay, so outside of D&D, I obviously play other tabletop games like World of Darkness, Call of Cthulhu, Scion I really like. Star Wars I'm super into. But video game-wise, I play a little bit of Rainbow Six Siege, I really like Warframe. Board games, I am super into Sentinels of the Multiverse, like super. Argent Adept is my bae. Deidan Harvey, so that's your last name, asks, which friend do you think you would most likely get arrested with? It can be online friends or IRL friends. Well, you know it would be you, Deidan. Jason Petengale asks, what's your favorite race in D&D? Elves, half-elves specifically. Kazim Tackett says, I don't know. Daniel B asks, why is Bard your favorite class? Because it's the only class that can handle the fabulousness that is me. Scouting J asks, what's your favorite spell in D&D 5e? Vicious Mockery. Eradrazil asks, are you ever going to do guide videos of unearthed arcana content such as the Artificer or the Mystic or UA-specific subclasses such as the Brute Fighter, the Plague Druid, etc.? I would love to watch that. Actually, I did do an unearthed arcana review for the Brute Fighter and the Plague Druid, so your wishes have been granted! Evan Ortiz asks, could you do a homebrew episode? Is it being made or are you just not doing that? Normally, I'm probably just not gonna do it, but hey, never say never. Damon Cross asks, what made you decide to start making YouTube vids? I answered this question already, but just in case you jumped straight to this part of the video, I got tired of my friends asking me for advice on D&D, so I just made a channel so that I can send them to that instead. Wesley Farnsworth asks, have you ever dressed up as any of your D&D characters? Do you plan on doing it in the future? So no, I have not gotten a chance to dress up as any of my D&D characters, unfortunately, but hey, maybe if the channel makes some money, I'll start doing cosplay shit, who knows, Shadow Dragon asks, what's your favorite class and how do you usually play them? Bard and well. ShawnOfTheDeadHD asks, is there a story behind why you don't like Fae? If so, share with the class, please. So every single time I go into the Feywild or have to deal with fairies or anything like that, I always have to deal with fucking bullshit. It's always stupid people trying to be tricksy and it's always bullshit. Fuck Fae. Nathan Porter asks, do you go LARPing, and if so, where? Yes, I do go LARPing, and I go to Knarr. It's a LARP in Michigan, and you can look it up on the internet. The Combat Wombat asks, what's your favorite edition? So, everyone's always going to love 3.5. It was Bay for a really long time, but I really like 5th edition. I know that's a little bit controversial, but let's be perfectly honest, it pushed D&D into the mainstream, so it's got that going for it. Fred Williams says, as a DM, what can I do to make my friends more interested in role-playing rather than just killing monsters? Political intrigue, exploring the legend of the Hidden Temple, anything that you would put a monster into. Think, what would happen if I didn't put a monster here, and if it really needs something to fight, what could I put except a monster, like a trap or a puzzle? MrSillyWalrus asks, Davvy, when are you gonna post your most memorable stories when you played or DM'd? Probably maybe sometime, I don't know, I don't really like doing story time, but hey, never say never. Daniel Shaw asks, have you played any of the Lone Wolf books? If you haven't, they're like D&D campaigns as books, and you can download them online for free. No, I have not, but thanks for telling me. Lorenzo Gabriele asks, when did you start playing D&D, or how did you know about it? I started playing D&D, I want to say like 5 to 7 years ago. It always blurs in my head, and I found out about it through my friends who had started a D&D club in the school. So when they graduated, I ended up taking over the D&D club for my senior year of high school. Jonathan Duardo asks, how was your day, and what are your thoughts on the Mystic UA? Well, my day was great, and the Mystic UA is overpowered. Marc Carucci asks, what are your plans when you finish the class guides? You appear to be going in alphabetical order, but you skip the sorcerer. Why? So after the class guides, I'm going to talk about races, and I'm going to be doing more magic in depth, and I'm going to do a bunch of other miscellaneous D&D videos. Eventually, I'm going to transfer into lore, and I'd like to, if possible, maybe in the future sometime, actually talk about LARPing. Also, as to why I didn't do the sorcerer next, I was literally being spammed with so many people who wanted me to do the warlock that when I finished the rogue, I legitimately forgot that the sorcerer exists because I really wanted to get to the warlock. Mr.Satterday Satterfield asks, are you going to be doing more things, maybe some new content? Like a D&D campaign live stream, or Let's Plays animations, fighting a rabbit raccoon tied to a stick, anything really? Okay, so I really don't like using the word content myself. I think it's mechanical, and I think it's really corporate, and I'm just a dumbass making videos on the internet, so I have no business being all like, oh yes, content, yes, subscribe. But never say never. I don't know what I'm planning on doing in the future outside of just making videos talking about stuff, so hey, stick around and you'll see. Kevin Johnson asks, if you had to make a D&D 5e character that was the complete 180 from your personality, what would the race, class, and personality be? Would you be a Beastmaster Ranger? No, fuck that. That would be stupid. How dare you? I'm not even answering the rest of the question for you. Okay, I'll answer the rest of the question. That's just because I'm nice like that. You're on thin ice. It would probably be like a Goliath barbarian, because in real life, I'm super small and frail, so I would have to be jacked and huge, and very stoic and not say anything, because I like talking a lot in real life, so saying absolutely nothing will be a godsend for my friends. Raul Rostas says first. Go to hell. ConverseFall says, what tips can you give for new DMs? Starting my own group soon, and I would love the insight. Okay, so the first thing you have to understand is if you're playing with a group of friends that know you, then any mistake you make, people will understand. Especially if it's your first time DMing, your friends will not hate you for not knowing how to grapple correctly. But my big thing is, rule 0 is the players have to have fun. So if there's rules that get in the way, or maybe something bad's happening and the people are starting to get a little bit down, do whatever you can to make sure that they're having fun. Now that doesn't mean make it in super easy mode on them, because some people like the challenge. I personally like challenging my players, but whatever it is, they have to keep having fun, because as soon as they stop having fun, then the game's useless to them. Lexicon asks, where's that duck-looking fella? Could've sworn I seen him around.
Quack.
Blitzfire GG asks, I'm double dipping on questions. Fuck you, fight me. I will! What is your favorite movie, and what was the first movie that made you cry? My favorite movie is Spirited Away, and the first movie that made me cry, oh my god, that is such a hard question. I'm gonna have to say Spirited Away, because that movie makes me sad. Like, even when I hear the ending song in the credits, every time I just sort of get a little emotional. Just don't. Shut up! Snowbrawler asks, are you going to do more in the future? I'd imagine I'd stay for in-depth build videos, like what to choose for a ranger from level 1 to 10, because I know you love them, and storytime videos. Keep it up. No, I'm not going to be doing any more D&D videos in the future. I'm actually going to be an accountant. Cameron Thaw asks, what made you want to play D&D? Like I said before, it was the extreme expansiveness of just what you are allowed to do, where you're allowed to go, just the whole openness of the game really made me love it. Ben Raga asks, given your use of Pathfinder artwork, will you ever cover it or Pathfinder 2e? Yes, but maybe not in the way you think. So the first Pathfinder was great because it was essentially D&D 3.75. There were problems with the 4th edition of D&D which turned people off, which is why Pathfinder was such a godsend, because it was essentially the new edition that people wanted. But the problem with Pathfinder 2e is that it's trying to now become 5e, but Pathfinder, but 5e is successful. People like it. There are people who have problems with it, but people like it way more than they liked 4e, so it's like Pathfinder 2e doesn't have an excuse for existing outside of just being a copycat. So if I do make a video on it, either they're going to change it up significantly, and I'm going to praise it for doing that, for being original in an era where D&D is monopolizing all of tabletop gaming, or they're going to try to make a carbon copy of 5e, and I'm going to blast the fuck out of it. Satharanfon asks, so when are you going to play Ranger? Fuck you. Wardock asks, will you sing Stronger Than You and or get a buzz cut? No. Oh, fuck you, bro. Austin Oso asks, what's one of the craziest things you've witnessed while playing a role-playing game? I once had to fight an angel, so that was pretty weird. Lord Applejuice asks, what's your favorite D&D memory? I once got 2 gangs to fight over me because I was the prettiest girl at the ball. And the Dinosaur asks, would you rather only be able to use the Ranger class to play D&D or never play again? Well, I feel like if I had to play D&D and I had to play the Ranger class, then I would have to make it a homebrew Ranger class because god damn it, Ranger, why you gotta be so terrible? Michael UK asks, do you play as a GM or a PC the way that you make movies full of jokes and not too serious? In a sense, yeah, but I try to keep a little bit of seriousness just because players will be completely pulled out if the 4th wall is consistently broken upon them, and there's no emotional depth to anything if you can't be serious once in a while. But no, I really like making jokes about everything. I really don't shut up. GGBra asks, what pre-made campaigns would you recommend for a first-time Dungeon Master on a tight budget that would also suit first-time players? The Lost Mines of Phandelver. Wizards of the Coast put out a beginner's campaign for beginner DMs and beginner players called The Lost Mines of Phandelver, and it's great. GNS Skits and Memes asks, where's the cake? And finally, Mouse3 asks, if you had made us cake, what kind of cake would it have been? Chocolate lemon cake. But that'll about do it. I hope you enjoyed your question being answered, and if I didn't get to you on accident, maybe I skipped over you because I didn't see it, I apologize. You can ask me another question in the comments below, and I will actually answer it for you in the comment section right there. But yeah, Davvy out.